Hi everyone, my name is Miss G, and in today's video we are going to learn how to solve multi-step equations. Now, a little bit about me before we dive right into the material is I have worked as a math teacher for the last 10 years in my district. I have also worked as a curriculum support specialist, and I have been a private math tutor for many years. My goal in making these videos is to hopefully simplify the concepts for you and give you lots of tips and tricks that make these equations easier to solve. So let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. The key for today's topic, solving multi-step equations, are these 4 steps. So go ahead and take a second to pause this video and write down these steps. I'm going to be referring to these steps throughout today's video. So let's just do a quick overview of these steps. Keep in mind that not every single equation requires every single step, but you still need to go through the process of checking to see if these steps are needed in this order. So step 1 is to distribute. If you see that your equation has parentheses, you're going to have to distribute, which is to multiply to drop the parentheses. Step 2 is to combine like terms on each side of your equal sign. And then once you get to step 3, we can start using inverse operations to move variables to one side of the equal sign, constants to the other side of the equal sign. And you'll notice in my steps, I say that I'm usually going to move variables to the left, constants to the right, but that's because we read from left to right, and I think we like when an equation ends with like x equals blank. So that's just my preference. You don't need to do it that way. Lastly, use inverse operations to isolate the variable, and that usually involves like dividing apart the number from that variable so we can leave the variable isolated or alone. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with today's first equation. The first thing I'm going to ask that we do is draw a line down our equal sign so that we're separating the left side from the right side of our equal sign. This just helps to keep ourselves organized, okay? Now, let's go through our steps. Step 1, are there any parentheses here that we need to deal with? No. Step 2, do we need to combine like terms on either side of this equal sign? Well, if you take a look at the left side, 5p and negative 14 are not like terms because 5 has a p, right, a variable, and 14, negative 14, does not have a variable. So therefore, we cannot actually combine them. Same thing when you take a look at the right side. 8p and 4 are not like terms. So that means we're already on step 3. Step 3, I mentioned that I like to move variables to the left because we like to read from left to right. So that means I'm going to go to the right side. Find my variable. I have positive 8p. And the inverse operation of positive 8p or plus 8p is to do minus 8p so that this cancels out. I go to the left side, also write minus 8p under the 5p. And then from left to right, we work. 5p minus 8p is negative 3p. Then you're going to go ahead and bring down the negative 14. You're going to keep that equal sign on this line. And then you're going to bring in the 4. The next step is to do inverse operation to our constants to move them to the right-hand side. So I'm going to grab this negative 14. The inverse operation is plus 14, so that can cancel out. And whatever we do on one side, we do on the other. I work from left to right, so we're going to bring in this negative 3p so we don't leave it behind. Keep that equal sign in the center, and then 4 plus 14 gives us 18. The last step is to isolate that variable, and that negative 3 is multiplying to the p. So I want to divide them apart, right? The inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3. Remember, negative divided by negative gives you positive. 3 divided by 3 gives you 1. So therefore, we have 1p equals, we only have one negative here, so our answer will be negative. And 18 divided by 3 gives us 6. So we just found that p equals negative 6. All right, let's try another one. So you may notice that this one looks a little longer and it just involves one extra step. So let's go ahead and put that line down our equal sign as it separates the left side from the right side of our equal sign. Now we refer to our steps. Step 1 is to distribute if there are parentheses, which there are. However, I always start from left to right, so I don't leave anything behind. So negative 18, I'm just dropping this left side, minus 6k equals stays on the line. And here, this 6 is multiplying to the numbers in the inside of the parentheses. So 6 times 1 gives us 6. 6 times 3 gives us 18, and then it has a k, so 18k. When we distribute, it drops the parentheses, and now we can see if we need to do step 2. Step 2 is to combine like terms on each side. Well, if I look at this left side, negative 18, negative 6k are not like terms because one has a k and one doesn't. On the right-hand side, we have 6 and 18k, same issue. They are not like terms, so we just move to step 3, which is to use inverse operations so we can cross that equal sign. Like I mentioned, I am going to move the variable that's on the right to the left. So I find my variable, it is positive 18k because you always use the sign in front of a number. The inverse operation will be minus 18k, so that can cross out. I will find the k on the left side, write the minus 18k under it, and then again, I'm always going to start from left to right, so I don't leave anything behind. So I'm going to have to drop this negative 18. Negative 6k minus 18k, this means we add and keep the sign. So we get negative 24k. This is like owing your dad $6 and owing your mom $18. So that means you owe them $24 altogether. You keep that equal sign in the center and you drop down that 6, which we have not used yet. Next, we're going to use inverse operations to move the constants from the left to the right. So the inverse operation of negative 18 is plus 18. So that can cross out. Plus 18. Let's see what we have. From left to right, we need to drop down our negative 24k. Don't forget that sign in front of the number. The equal sign stays in the center, and 6 plus 18 also gives us 24. Our last step is to isolate that variable, and that variable has negative 24 multiplying to it. So the inverse operation of multiplication is division. I think of dividing them apart, right? Dividing that number away from that variable. So I'm going to divide by negative 24 on both sides of my equal sign. Negative divided by negative, cancel. 24 divided by 24 gives us 1. So 1k, or just k, equals 24 divided by 24 gives us 1. So we don't want to forget this negative. K equals negative 1. Remember, any number divided by itself gives you 1. So negative 1 in this case. All right, our last equation in today's video is a little bit longer and will involve all steps so that we can really get a feel for using all 4 steps. So you put that line down the equal sign. It separates your left from your right. Step 1 is to distribute, and we do have parentheses, so we are going to grab the 2 on the outside and multiply that number to the numbers in the inside. 2 times 4x gives us 8x. 2 times negative 3 gives us negative 6. Go ahead and drop down the rest of our equation. And now we can move to step 2. This equation does have step 2. You may notice that that left side of that equal sign is slightly longer than that right side of the equal sign. That's a good hint that there's probably going to be like terms. And there are. Negative 6 and negative 8 are like terms. They are constants that we can combine. Notice I am not going to use inverse operations. You only use inverse operations when you're on step 3 and 4 and you're trying to move from one side to the other side of the equal sign. I'm not trying to move from one side to the other side of the equal sign yet. I am trying to combine these two terms. So starting from left to right, I'm going to drop this 8x. I am going to combine these two terms. So negative 6 minus 8 gives us negative 14. Equal sign stays in that center where the line is. And then we're going to drop down the 4 plus 2x from the right. Now we're on step 3. Step 3 is when we're going to use inverse operations to move variables left, constants right if we can. So variable on the right is positive 2k, or 2x, positive 2x. The inverse operation is minus 2x, so we can cancel that out, put minus 2x. Left to right, 8x minus 2x, 6x. Drop down this negative 14 equals drop down this 4. Inverse operation to move our constants to the right, negative 14. The inverse operation is positive 14. We are almost done. On our left-hand side, we have this 6x we want to bring in, equals 4 plus 14 is 18. Last step, that x has this 6 multiplying to it. So we are going to divide them apart. I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides. 6 divided by 6 gives us 1. I always draw a straight line down when I'm dividing because I'm kind of reminding myself that gives me 1. So 1x, or x, our goal, equals 18 divided by 6 is 3. So x in this equation equals 3. Well, great job today, guys. We were able to do 3 multi-step equations, and I hope that I was able to teach you a way that will keep your equations organized. Always work from left to right because that's how we read, and just memorize those steps. If you know those steps, you'll be able to solve any multi-step equation. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment. If you have any further questions, leave them in the comments. I will definitely get back to you. And don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day. Bye.